Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And remember how Eternals was slated to make more than $100 million this weekend? Yeah, that didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Shocker.
Shocker. Yeah, Eternals came in below expectations. However, the media is going to try to defend it.
They already are. Variety kept referring to it soaring to heroic heights or calling it soaring and all this other stuff about, no matter what the total is, even if it comes in under what they expected, it's still a winner because,
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how it actually did. And yeah, I do believe the Rotten Tomatoes scores, which are very bad.
Well, you shouldn't go by Rotten Tomato scores, honestly, anyway. But yeah, this one was pretty bad.
This one was pretty bad. When the critics that normally would defend this movie are turning on this movie, that's not a good sign. Because usually Disney can do no wrong, the MCU can do no wrong.
I expect the audience score to go down significantly as well from what I heard. I've heard people talking about it, and I've heard nobody say it was really good. They said it might visually look cool, but it was boring as hell, and that people were getting up and leaving the theaters.
Yeah, I had a couple people write me. One person actually is a comic book insider who said if you're a fan of 90s Avengers, there's definitely something in it for you. But that's not enough to sit through a 3-hour snooze fest, personally. I mean, this is the first Marvel movie that we're skipping in the theaters.
Right, but if you want to go see it, by all means, go see it. We're not going to tell you not to. But we're not surprised by how it's turned out.
Yeah, so before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. Over 239,000, almost 240,000.
Woo, yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. We have been following the Eternals, very long, strange trip because, I remember channels like ours getting blasted for pointing out that the trailer looked boring as hell.
Well, even before that, it was delayed how many times?
Oh, yeah.
They've been milking this thing, like dragging it out for 2 years or more. And then, when the trailers came out, it looked boring. People were like, what the hell is it? It was all over the damn place. The trailer did it no favors. And then we had the Shang-Chi thing where it was ready for that movie to come out. And Disney must have seen there was a problem because they diverted marketing money to Eternals before Shang-Chi even came out.
Yeah, and they know there's a problem too because now they're cutting out some of those scenes that kept it from international release.
Yeah, before they were going to refuse to make cuts, and then everybody's like having a hissy fit because Variety is kind of behind a lot of the stuff here about trying to white knight for this film, or black knight for this film, depending. But they're the ones who pointed out, they're like, oh, it's because of homosexuality. But when you look at it, yes, that's not untrue. But they banned it for 3 reasons. And all 3 reasons are in this film, not just that one.
Yeah, so it looks like Disney needs to make some money off this movie because it's not going to play in China. They don't like Chloe Zhao very much. She's spoken out against the CCP.
They make changes, is it going to play in China?
Probably not. China doesn't need... China doesn't need your movies.
Right. So we looked into the top box office hits of this year just to see. And if you look at the U.S., it's one list. But if you look globally, a bunch of them are Chinese movies.
Yeah. China has a massive audience. This is why Disney and other studios have been pandering to China. And they really, I think, were banking on China, for Eternals.
Well, it's funny to me. Fast and the Furious 9 is number 3. And Godzilla vs. Kong is number 6. Then you got Shang-Chi. Then you got Venom. And Venom's like right on its heels. And then you have Black Widow. And then Free Guy, which actually was pretty good. I liked Free Guy quite a bit.
It was good. We waited a long time to watch it, but it actually was pretty decent.
So I'm just saying, I mean, the Fast and Furious is way above. Hey, Godzilla vs. Kong is above the Disney films.
Yeah, no, this is domestic. I also have a list of top opening weekends here, and Eternals would be number 4.
For this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. During these unprecedented times.
Well, they're going to start right away. They're going to blame it on the following things because I've already seen it. Pandemic. They're going to blame it on people hating female directors, which is a load of shit because other movies, did really well with female directors. And they're going to say, or you hate women,
Yeah.
And they're going to blame it on people who don't like diversity and gay people.
Yeah.
All of which are bullshit. It might just be that the movie sucks.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, to see, Deadline turning on it already. But I just want to point out here, so far, no one's been able to beat Venom. Venom domestically opened at $90 million, which is a pre-pandemic
And that
number.
was one they kind of were like, pat in the head, it's going to do okay.
I forgot it was a thing, actually. I mean, I liked the first Venom. And I knew that they were working on a sequel, but I totally forgot it was coming out until like a week or two before it came out. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Venom 2. And it made bank. And people, tried to make excuses for James Bond, saying, well, more people went to go see Venom because it was a younger audience. It's a superhero movie. I'm like, so please explain what happened then with this
Eternals.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Black Widow.
And that was simultaneously released on Disney Plus. And they tried to white knight for the Black Widow movie by saying, well, it would have done better theatrically if it wasn't on Disney Plus, which it probably would have. I'm not going to lie. It is still number 2.
Number 3 is Shang-Chi, which actually did perform better
overall
than was expected. They actually, and look, we'll be honest here. I think it was Box Office Mojo or Box Office Pro. One of the websites put the numbers out there saying that Shang-Chi was only going to do like 50, 60 million opening weekend, and it did better than that.
Mm-hmm. It's actually number 1 domestically for this year.
Yeah, so but, that's kind of weird though, because this is the one that people thought was going to be more the dark horse. I think.
Mm-hmm. And I remember we were saying that we had more hope for it than we did for Eternals. And we also said it was kind of shit that Disney was throwing Shang-Chi under the bus for Eternals. And they were taking away their marketing for Eternals. And we got so much shit because we just hated on Shang-Chi. And it's like, no, we didn't.
They threw him under that extra long bus.
Right? And we said that they were actually doing it dirty by taking the money away from it for Eternals. So what would it have done if they hadn't pulled marketing away from it?
Yeah, so Eternals heavily marketed. They're Happy Meals, and they look like unhappy meals.
Why would you want a Happy Meal with these characters? And it's in a movie that has sex scenes and all this other stuff that other countries are banning it for. I'm like, why would you put Happy Meal toys for Eternals?
We went to McDonald's for coffee today, and I saw a kid sitting by the window and had the Happy Meal, and the box, they're like scowling. These characters were all scowling on the box. Like, that is an unhappy meal.
I mean,
that is not a happy meal.
To be fair, you had Thanos snapping people and Thor trying to cut his head off. So, that wasn't exactly something you should have marketed to kids either. But,
this is pretty interesting. Now, you did an article leading up to it before. And
here, let me see this for a minute. So, here's what I was finding. Variety, I want to point this out. The 3 days apart. Marvel Eternals eyes heroic. 75 million plus. This is after they kept saying it was going to hit 100. Not necessarily Variety, but media. Then they changed it 3 days later. Eternals is soaring to 69.5. So I guess it's not heroic. It's soaring now. No matter what happens, it's still a winner. I was like, where are they getting this from? Where are they getting this, these 100, 110
million? Yeah.
Apparently it was from this guy on Twitter. And he's like a box office projector person. And he said that he was predicting it to be 90 to 110 million.
So they
immediately ran with the 110 million.
Yeah. So, and I know the pre-sales they were trying to say, oh my God, the pre-sales are so good, guys. They're so good. So much better than Shang-Chi. This movie's going to make bank. And it really didn't do so well, did it?
No, but I was like, where are they getting this from? It was from one person's estimate based on early ticket sales. And that was the very high end.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's pretty bad when Deadline, again, this is another site that used to constantly stand for Disney.
Yeah.
Of course, this was, they used to defend Bob Iger's Disney, not so much Bob Chapek's, because Bob Chapek, and that might actually factor into it. Bob Chapek has ruffled some feathers in Hollywood with the Scarlett Johansson thing. And so they might be like, well, screw you, Bob. Even though this one would have been greenlit on Iger's watch.
Yeah, it would have been.
Despite global box office glory and $71 million domestic debut, Eternals is a wake-up call for the MCU.
Global box office glory. I wouldn't call it global box office glory either.
Not for a Marvel movie.
No, this is sad for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, so Disney was able to keep Eternals intact throughout the weekend, hitting a $71 million opening amid mediocre audience exits and the worst reviews of all time for any MCU title. But know that when this film first landed on tracking 4 weeks ago, many had it at 80 to 85 million.
Some people had it higher than that.
Yeah. Of those attending in the US, 46% told Screen Engine, ComScore, they went to see Eternals because it's part of a franchise they love. 44% said the genre type of movie. 32% said the storyline. 28% because the ensemble cast. Basically, I feel like I had to go see it because I've kept up with the MCU so far. So worldwide, Eternals does 161.7 million. That's the second best opening for a Hollywood movie.
Yes, I mentioned a Hollywood
movie. Because if you go out to the worldwide, that is Not good. And they're not getting any of that China money.
No.
Thanks, Chloe. Thanks for that. So yeah, I mean, this is interesting though, that they're even like, are people over the MCU?
Well, it doesn't matter. They're already going to make the Twitter and the media in general is just going to make excuses after excuse for this film. They already are doing it. I don't think people are over the MCU, but this one didn't feel like the MCU. The trailer was boring. You had too many characters you were introducing at once, and it just did not feel like what you've built it up to feel like all these years.
Yeah, they're basically like Disney's kind of like dumbstruck. They don't know what to do here. They're like,
how are you dumbstruck? We've been telling you this was going to fail.
Yeah, the studio first introduced the actors and their characters at D23 2019.
Yes.
Yep, Disney had enough confidence in Eternals to fearlessly world premiere it and screen it to the press at least 3 weeks ahead of release.
Yeah, but they regret that decision.
Yeah, that kind of backfired, didn't it?
It looks boring, guys. And here's the thing: they're all starting. Well, you don't like women, you don't like female directors, and all that. That's not what this is about. Look, she might be a good director when she's doing human interest stories in her own thing, like Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson is pretty good when he's doing his own thing. But for whatever reason, Disney keeps picking these people that are wrong fits for these tent poles. I don't know if they're trying to be art house or what, or trying to go after some awards.
I think, look, I'm going to be honest with Chloe Zhao. I think it was, well, one, she was noteworthy because she did win an award. So it's like, okay, she's hot now, but she's also an Asian woman. And they were probably banking on like, well, we'll have an Asian woman directing a diverse cast of literally every kind of person. So this thing will play well overseas and China will love it. And then, oh, whoops.
China doesn't like her.
They don't like her very much.
But yeah, they're using it and Matt and Nick uses a shield. Because immediately, oh, it's because you don't like women? It's because you don't like diversity. And it's like, no, it's because you don't like boring as fuck movies. I'm sorry, Mom. That's what it is. And everybody keeps talking about it. He said it's like people were comparing it to getting a root canal.
Yeah, it's funny because Deadline's kind of like they're scrambling. Like, what went wrong? They're like, they had all this tie-in stuff, McDonald's and Geico and ESPN, and they push the hell out of this movie, and people didn't care
because it looked boring as hell and didn't like Marvel. That's just it. Disney does not understand this. They keep moving from formula on these things because they think that they're Disney and they can, and then they kill it. It's like you spent how many years building up the Marvel and the MCU, and I understand you might want to make some changes to that, and that's cool. You can make some changes. Not all at once.
Yeah.
And you pick a director who's known for human interest stories, it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do for a Marvel film. Just like picking a director who's known for subverting expectations was probably the wrong person to hire for arguably one of the biggest franchises in the world, Star Wars.
Yeah.
But that had a massive amount of expectation on it.
Yeah. So this one definitely did not go the way they thought it was going to go.
Both under Iger, just pointing out.
Both under Iger. Now, what's interesting, though, is Chloe Zhao.
Oh, yes, this one.
Yeah, Chloe Zhao has been saying that Man of Steel was an inspiration for Eternals. And it's funny because that's one of the things that we've heard is this feels like a not-so-good DCEU movie.
So let's see. Marvel thought it was a great idea to go and to hire a director who was going to make the movie based on a DCEU movie. The DCEU, everybody's joking about is shit most of the time. That's your go-to model?
Well, it worked. I mean, we're still in the same same range here. So
I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's like, why would you base a Marvel movie on a DCEU movie?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. She can do her. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense.
Look, to me, like I saw this, I'm like, this
and cats living together.
This is basically what would have happened if DC had moved ahead with the New Gods movie with Ava DuVernay.
Oh, yes.
I think it would have been very much like Eternals, and it probably would have played about as well. Actually, worse because it wouldn't have had the good buzz. That the MCU has.
Well, no, the MCU's losing their good buzz because basically they're admitting that they're going out there trying to turn themselves into the DCEU.
Yeah.
DCU. Whatever you call it. DCEU, yes, that's right.
Yep, you were right.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
You're always right the first time. Always. Anyway, so there we go, guys. Came in way below the projections. Again, can't speak to whether or not the movie's any good. Have zero desire to see it.
Yeah.
It looks boring. I mean, we even gave Shang-Chi a chance, was pleasantly surprised.
I liked it. I'd watch it again. I'd buy that one.
Yeah, it was okay.
I liked it more than you did, but yeah, I would buy it. I would buy that one. I wouldn't even pay tickets for this one.
No.
However, we do have our Ghostbusters tickets ordered.
We
and I
already
just
do.
ordered a bunch more for extended families so we all can go together.
We bought like half the theater for Ghostbusters, the very first showing. So that one we're actually excited about. They're saying, I saw another article, they said they think Afterlife is going to be a slow burn, even though it's got a lot of really good buzz. I would love to see Afterlife do better than Venom. I don't think it's going to happen. But
Well, I just want to make sure, okay, before I even make any comments like that, I love to see it do better than another movie. I just want it to not suck.
Well, that's true.
I mean, let me
could
get past
suck.
the hurdle of it being good. And then if it is, then I will hope it does better than other films.
Yeah,
if
'cause-
it isn't, then I'm just going to say it isn't.
Because there is the very good, especially current year, very good possibility that Afterlife, even though we've heard very good things about it from people that have seen it, whose opinions we trust, there's a very good possibility it's a dog shit movie. And it's just a nostalgia grab. And yeah, so, I mean, but we're actually excited about that one. We don't get excited about much these days, so give us this one.
We don't, actually. And we were definitely not excited about this. The
No.
only thing I've ever talked about it is it looks boring. It looked like there's too many characters that are being shoved into one film, and that we thought it wasn't going to do well because it seemed to stray too far from formula. And we were right about all three things. So,
All right, guys. So there we go. $71 million domestic. Pretty good, but not great. Could have been a lot better.
it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.